Hello everyone and welcome to today's class, and our title today is Aussie Defendant Claims He Was Misheard. Let's move on to language focus. 1번. Due to the demand for English language skills plus a favourable working holiday visa agreement between Japan and Australia, quite a few young Aussies work in Japan for a year or so. Okay, so we're going to look at the expression quite a few. So we use quite a few to express that a number is fairly large. Note that it is not the same as quite a few, which means the opposite, a small number. Quite few, sorry. There's no R. However, it really does depend on where you live in the world. I believe quite a few in the UK and even maybe Australia does mean a little amount of something. But it really just does depend where you are speaking around the world. But anyway, quite a few는 수가 꽤 많다는 것을 표현하는 데 사용합니다. Quite a few는 그 반대의 의미, 적은 수를 가짐으로 다루다는 점에 유의하세요. So, I have quite a few relatives living overseas. 저는 해외에 사는 친척이 꽤 많습니다. So I have a lot of relatives living overseas. Quite a few high school students have part-time jobs in the US. 미국에서는 꽤 많은 고등학생들이 알바하고 있습니다. So yeah, the word quite you have to be careful with, like I said. Quite a few means a lot, but some people use quite to mean a few as well. It was quite nice. Doesn't mean always it was very good. Some people might use it in a way of saying it wasn't bad. Okay, 2번. He spotted a can of fuel on a second-story veranda and figured that it might be the source of the smell. Okay, let's look at figure now. We use figure to express that somebody makes a guess or an assumption based on logic. figure를 사용하여 누군가가 논리에 기반하여 추측이나 가정을 한다는 표현을 하세요. So, example. Fadila is from Algeria, so I figured she could speak French as well as Arabic. 바딜라는 알제리아 출신이라서 나는 그녀가 프랑스어와 아랍어를 모두 할 수 있을 거라고 생각했습니다. Or I didn't figure that it would take a long time to drive from San Bernardino to Los Angeles, so I was very surprised when it took 3 hours. So I've never been to America, so I don't know if it's correct pronunciation on San Bernardino. San Bernardino에서 로스앤젤레스까지 차로 오래 걸릴 거라고는 생각하지 않았는데 3시간이나 걸려서 매우 놀랐습니다. Alright, now let's look at the language focus quiz. 1번. I have quite a few friends in So remember, quite a few는 수가 꽤 많다는 것을 표현하는데 사용합니다. So I have quite a few friends in, let's just say, Australia. 저는 호주에 꽤 많은 친구가 있습니다. Quite a few university students in my country study law. 제 나라에서는 꽤 많은 대학생들이 법학을 공부합니다. 3번. I figured that would have a lot of figured. Use figure to express that somebody makes a guess or assumption based on logic. figure를 사용하여 누군가가 논리에 기반하여 추측이나 가정을 한다는 표현을 하세요. I figured that Seoul would have a lot of good bars. 나는 서울에 좋은 바가 많이 있을 거라고 생각했습니다. And I didn't figure that, so I was very surprised when, I didn't figure that Sam could cook, so I was very surprised when she cooked dinner for us. 나는 쌤이 요리를 할 수 있을 거라고 생각하지 않았는데 그녀가 우리를 위해 저녁을 요리하자 매우 놀랐습니다. Alright, now let's look at the further discussion. 1번. According to news reports, the Australian man had been studying Japanese for just 1 year at the time of the incident, and he claims that he did not know the word for robbery, goto, at the time. Do you believe this? 뉴스 보도에 따르면 그 호주 남자는 사건 당시 일본어를 공부한 지 경우 1년밖에 되지 않았고 그는 그 당시 강도라는 단어조차 몰랐다고 주장합니다. 이 말을 믿으시나요? I guess so. Maybe, but I still think that he probably knew what he did wrong. Yeah, it's not uncommon for drunken working holiday people to cause mischief in other countries. I don't know why. I feel I would feel more embarrassed to make a fool of myself in a country that I wasn't comfortable in. So, yeah, I mean, there's a very good possibility that he didn't know the word robbery in Japanese. However, I still think that he seems to be a normal person, so I'm sure he knew that he was doing something wrong. So I don't think that's a good enough excuse in my point of view. 2번, why do you think nuisance foreigners have become a hot topic in Japan? Do you think foreigners really cause a lot of problems, or are they being unfairly blamed? Give reasons for your opinion. 불편한 외국인, 이 일본에서 뜨거운 이슈가 된 이유는 무엇이라고 생각하나요? 외국인들이 정말 많은 문제를 일으키고 있다고 생각하시나요? 아니면 불공평하게 비난받고 있다고 생각하시나요? You see, I see so many nuisance foreigners here in Korea, so I can believe that it would also happen in Japan. So I mean, not all foreigners are nuisances. There are most of the foreigners here are fairly respectful, but it's always you know who it is. It's always the the Caucasian males that are always the nuisance. Always. I don't know why it's them, but I have come across so many Caucasian males, and if you're a Caucasian male watching this, for example, maybe the person who watches this to edit it or whatever, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the other young, silly, drunk Caucasian males that I think are the ones that I see mostly. Yeah, I see them as the people making a lot of problems. Don't know why it's always them. It's not that I haven't seen other races also make problems. I have, but the main race that I see, and that doesn't mean that from a certain country, I'm not saying they're American, they could be European, whatever, but whatever it is, it's those groups, especially when they're in groups, they're the ones that seem to be making the problems. And yeah, I don't think they're unfairly blamed. I think there are a lot of situations where those people are doing stupid things in other countries. An example would be like walking around with a bottle of soju thinking you're cool because you can walk around with a bottle of soju. Don't be stupid. Soju is meant to be drunk with food and at a restaurant. You're not cool if you walk around with it on the street. Don't be an idiot. Yeah, that's my opinion. It's probably a bit controversial to anyone who might be a foreigner and is white who's watching this. Sorry, I'm not talking to you exactly, unless you're the person who does this, then I am talking to you. Anyway, better stop here before it gets too controversial. I'll see you next class. Goodbye.
Working holiday.
Working holiday.
Antics.
Antics.
Parkour.
Park hour.
Pry.
Pry.
Wear out one's welcome.
Wear out one's welcome.
Nuisance.
Nuisance.